You are listening to Castles and Cryptids, where the castles are haunted and the cryptids are cryptic AF. And I'm Alanna.
Now I'm Kelsey.
And this is episode 74.
Yeah.
74.
Woo!
74. We hope you want more. I don't know. It's Friday. I haven't talked to
Friday.
Kelsey basically all week. It is a
Yeah.
Friday. Yay. It was a day off for me, so it was like a Friday slash a Saturday almost.
Yeah.
you know, but then I have to work tomorrow, so I'm just glad we're recording tonight because that's still fun and helps me feel like it's a
Yeah.
Friday or Saturday.
Yeah, I was on a road trip and went through
Yeah.
the mountains and
You like just rolled back into town. I was gonna say,
yeah,
yeah, it's been like I
not
kind
even
of missed
24
you.
hours ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I go to text and then it's like, well, she's not even really here. She probably doesn't want to either talk about the podcast or whatever it was.
Yeah.
you know, figured you
Oh.
was busy.
We did a lot of shopping.
Yeah.
A lot of walking. My feet are killing me. Everything hurts.
Oh man.
Uh
There's a
the
lot of good
last thing
hiking and stuff,
we didn't even
obviously.
do that. We were just walking while shopping, and we shopped until my mom and I
Yeah.
dropped. And yeah,
Excuse me.
but
That can be so
we
fun though, especially because it's like a lot of those little towns you're walking from like store to store. You're not walking necessarily through a big shopping mall.
oh yeah,
Like
it's
you're
just
out
on the street
outside.
in cute
Yeah.
little stores with really old buildings. Some of the buildings are from like the 1890s and stuff. Um,
Damn.
yeah, it was pretty
That's so
cool.
crazy though.
Yeah, and we went to the
But
hot
like a lot of yeah.
springs, which were nice.
Well, it's so historic. Like
Yeah.
towns build up around hot springs, and I think that's what
Mm-hmm.
started Banff, which is such a big tourist spot now. But that's not to say
Yeah.
it's like Times Square or something. It's still like hot springs and beautiful mountains and
Yeah.
hiking, and so there's a lot of
It's still
tourists, but it's still so beautiful. Yeah.
it's still basically just a few main streets and then the rest of it's a lot of residential stuff.
Oh yeah.
But
Probably what people picture, like maybe what some Americans picture with Canada. I
yeah.
think a lot of times maybe they think of all the rural parts and stuff. I don't know. I could just be
Yeah,
projecting, but
probably.
I don't
But
know. I was telling you just before we got on the air about the guy Pat was watching. That's an American YouTuber talking about Canada a little bit. So it was giving me a little bit of a perspective. It's cool though because he was very positive, like top 10 places to visit in Canada. Like these places are beautiful. It's like yeah,
yeah.
they
Yeah.
damn well are. We're on the same continent. We get a lot of the same type of beautiful formations and whatnot, and we share the
Yeah.
Rocky Mountains, but our Rocky Mountains have like Arctic glacial waters that are like super
Yes.
turquoisey blue and stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh
They were
yeah.
so blue. Blue and green. There was one that was
Oh,
just like a beautiful green color when we were driving past.
that's so nice. It's just like you don't see that a lot unless you're in the Caribbean or something.
Yeah. No sandy beaches though, mostly rocks.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
One funny thing when I was editing our episode, the India crimes that came out
Yeah.
today, how we had said that something about YouTube views, and I think I left it in there. Oh, you were saying how one episode had a few more YouTube views than others. I think the
Yeah.
high kill count. Yeah, and then we were like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, but overall we get like 10 views or something on YouTube.
Yeah,
And then as
like
I was
per
listening to it,
episode, it's not very high.
True, but by the time I was editing that, I was like literally like the next episode after that like blew up even more than that one and had like over 1,000 views.
Yeah. I checked it earlier when I went to upload this week's or today's episode, and
Yeah.
it was over 1,300 plays in a week. And 1,200 of those
It's like,
plays were in the
damn.
first 2 days. So I don't know. I don't know what list we ended up on YouTube's homepage or some shit that people were looking up on Friday and Saturday last week, but
Right? If you're
it
a
was
repeat
wild.
customer that yeah, maybe you came for high kill counts when you were trying to Google who had the most serial killers and then you found us and maybe a few more people like listened from that one. Like it's like,
Yeah,
"Hello,
I don't
welcome.
know.
We love to see you here."
And it was, yeah, such a weird episode because it was like just the little collection of places we did. It wasn't like a name
Yeah.
grabby serial killer or like haunted place or
No,
anything like that. So,
it's true, but it's also something that I would find myself Googling or searching for on like YouTube, maybe abandoned places and stuff like that. I
yeah.
mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if the name has anything to do with it. I think the picture you chose is so cool because it's that the
Yeah.
chicken church. It's a
All
very like
hail the
intriguing
chicken
photo.
church.
You're like, what the
Yeah.
fuck is this?
Chicken
Yeah,
church.
totally.
Yeah.
That place is weird. It was wild.
Yeah.
I like that episode.
Yeah, it was fun. This should be
Yeah,
another fun one. It's been a
true.
while since we did a mythology episode, I think.
Yeah, we need it after the India crimes one. I mean, it was good as always,
Yeah.
but the very dark as true crime
Mm-hmm.
goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, such a hard time finding those people's names. Oh man, going to do
Yeah.
the
When you text me and
Instagram
was
and
like, what was
everything.
your guy's name? And it was like, I know it starts with SH and there's two A's and a T. And then it was like, I don't remember the rest. And I was like, and I know I had a hard time finding
Yeah,
out what his last name was.
very
And
hard. I
I
could
was
see
like,
that. I was when I was trying to
yeah,
search. Oh yeah,
yeah.
I was way off. I was like Sharif, like, and then it turned out to
Oh,
be more like Sharath. It's like, oh,
yeah,
okay, got
Sharath.
it.
Yeah.
It's tough, yeah. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. Well, a lot of the news sources being in a different language doesn't help, but
Hmm.
we do the best we can.
Yeah. We tried. We tried our best. That's what matters. We tried.
Well, before you get into it, do you have anything else we want to talk about or anything?
No, not that I can think of.
I, d- I don't have anything really particularly like a fun fact or anything, but there's been some funny things I've seen on the internet the last week. Like I was just telling Pat that there was one of uh, in some palace or something. There was a bunch of the royal family gathered together, like the British royal family and
Mm.
Charles and whatever, and it had like this checkerboard floor, like this black and white tile floor, and it goes like, oh, everything is going to be like taking a lot longer now that we have a king because you can only move one square at a time.
Oh my god.
It was just like so stupid and funny. I was like, that's the dad joke meme of the week.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. That's all I got though.
Well, when I was in the mountains, I saw a shirt that had a deer that had bear
Okay.
arms, like grizzly bear arms, like
Oh my
gloves.
god.
And then he was standing in front of a bear, and the deer went, I'll fight you with my bare arms." And the bear went, "Oh
Oh my
dear."
god.
So
Oh
there's
my
my
god.
there's my terrible joke.
That is a terrible pun. It's like several. Hello, Gordo? Are you
Yeah.
okay?
I don't know. He knocked something down. I
Kelsey
have to go
didn't
see what
move,
it
but
is.
it sounded like
No.
firecrackers went off in her house.
I have to go see what the cat's doing. One sec. I can just
What
tell
was he
my.
doing?
Oh, he reached up and knocked something off of one of the shelves in the living room.
My dog is not bugging me at the moment, but you never know when he might come in here and decide he doesn't know where to hide his bone because, oh no, he hid it somewhere and we saw it.
How dare you?
Right?
Yeah. This week, I am excited because we're diving into maybe one of my favorite, or when I was at least in school, one of my favorite things that we
Yeah.
maybe sort of learned about. I remember doing a school project where we had to do like a windmill kind of thing, like metal windmill, and we had to look up stories
Oh.
of different Greek gods and stuff.
Yeah, that's how you know we're not talking about true crime because you talk
Yeah,
about doing it in school.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
It's true, but then you don't. Yeah, either you learn about something in school and you want to learn more, but then it's just not always as fun when you're learning it in school because you don't just to get to learn about the
yeah.
kind of the fun parts that you want to learn about. You have to be like, okay, now what does that mean and represent and let's dissect it.
Memorize this. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
So this is cool. I'm ready to be
yeah.
taught.
I have a lot to teach. I don't know. Um,
Ooh.
I
We
feel
haven't done a
like
creation story in a while. Sorry, spoiler.
yeah, I
Yeah.
do have. It's kind of two creation stories. The
Oh,
first one is
okay.
just like how I guess everything came to be in Greek mythology, and then the other one is specifically um like the creation of man. Uh,
Okay, nice.
yeah.
I like that.
But there's a lot involved. We touch on a whole bunch of people. I looked
Oh,
up
Greeks are all about the touching.
touching and a whole lot of incest and stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you didn't
Yeah.
probably specifically have to even go looking for it. Just
No,
somehow
I
that
was
came
just
up in
reading this
mine
and it was
too.
like, oh yeah, I think it's by the second paragraph or something. It's like, so and so slept with his sister. And it's like, oh, cool. Thanks. Like,
They are like the other royals, the Targaryens of fiction like Game of Thrones, or I forget exactly who they might be kind of inspired by, but there was one they talked about on Wine and Crime that was so incestual that their family tree like had very few branches and they
oh,
all had this they have this very prominent chin. It's like called the something chin. I can't remember, but it's like
all I
everyone in
think
the
is
family
butt
has it.
chin. You got a butt
Yeah.
chin. Or cleft
I could
chin?
it's like
I don't
it's this really cartoonishly large chin.
know. Oh,
I'll see
God.
if I can find out what the family name is. I think it's just named after the family. Yeah, but it's like royals, I mean, they're just known for this sometimes.
Oh, yeah, especially a long time ago.
Oh, the Habsburg jaw. I literally just
Mm.
had to like put in something like it autocorrected to inbreeding royal chin.
Inbreeding royalty. What a
I
Google
forget
search.
exactly. Yeah, I forget that wasn't exactly what I typed, but yeah, it brought up what I wanted, which was the Habsburg jaw, which is like this just giant, like
Oh.
massive chin, like Farquaad. Like you know how Lord Farquaad looks in
Yeah.
in Shrek. Yeah, that's basically what they look like.
Wow. It's terrible.
Anyway, I digress.
Yeah. So for the creation, um, there's two creation stories. There's like creation and then there's the creation two. I read the second one and 80% of it is just saying what happened in the first creation story. Um,
Okay.
so I didn't include that one because it's basically the same thing. But
It's like
most
a
of
bad sequel.
yeah, yeah, all the same
This tells
jokes,
us
everything.
nothing.
Nothing
Yeah.
new. So I think all of my information, other than maybe two sentences that just clarified something, the rest of this is taken directly, verbatim off of the GreekMythology.com website because I found they did a pretty good
Nice.
job of breaking it down. Um,
Yeah, I
so
think they were a
hopefully,
source of mine also. Yeah.
yeah, hopefully it's not too hard to follow. There's going to be a whole lot of names. Some of them are just going to get thrown in and never talked about again. I did
Yep.
include on the drive a family tree that starts at the beginning and looks like it kind of goes down through everything.
Oh,
As far
okay.
as
I'll
I
have to
could
pull that
tell.
up.
So that might be helpful. Um, so
Like the, what did you call it? Infographic I had with my India
yes,
crimes.
yeah.
Nice. Okay, that's good to know. I'll pull it up.
And I looked up some of the pronunciations of some of the words, but I don't know.
Okay.
We'll wing it.
Oh,
Uh,
fair enough. Exactly. Whoops.
so for the
Okay.
creation, it starts in the beginning, there was only chaos, the gaping emptiness. The only thing in this void was Nyx, a bird with black wings. With the wind, she laid a golden egg, and for ages she sat upon this egg. Finally, life began to stir in the egg, and out of it rose Eros, the god of love. One,
Ooh, I've
yeah,
heard of him.
yeah. One half of the shell rose into the air and became the sky, and the other half became the earth. Enter Gordo.
Gordo
What?
has entered the chat.
Yeah. Uh,
Oh, sorry. It just occurred to me that chat is spelled the same as the French word for cat, which is chat. Chat.
well, he's definitely
Anyway.
being a shat. He's being a big old stinky shat.
Is
Uh,
he?
yeah,
You shat face.
yeah. Uh, yeah, so one half of the shell went rose into the air, became the sky. The other half became the earth. Eros named the sky Uranus, and the earth he named.
Yeah, I did.
That's so manus. Uh,
I did hear about him in mine though. He comes up again.
yeah.
Don't you worry.
Uh, and then the earth. I always thought it was Gaia. When I looked at the
Yeah.
pronunciation, it said Yaya, like with a Y. Yaya.
Oh, really? Yeah, I've
Yeah,
heard Gaia too.
yeah.
All right.
So then Eros made them fall in love. So made Uranus and the Earth fall in love.
Oh, did he?
Uh, yeah. So there's also
Okay.
Tartarus, which is the underworld, was also created about this time. I don't know from what. That wasn't mentioned. Um,
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
It just sprang forth, or it was just there.
Yeah. Just happened. And once Gaia and Chaos, uh, or once love was there, Eros, Gaia and Chaos, who are two female deities, they were able to procreate, and they basically shaped and birthed like
Ooh.
everything that's known and unknown in the universe. So everything
Oh,
is basically
okay.
their children. Um,
Okay, this
yeah,
is the OG mommy and mommy. The
yeah,
OG moms.
the OG moms. Um,
Interesting. Yeah, I came across like some a little bit of what is it, family trees, I guess, but it's still
yeah,
just very confusing, especially when there's incest.
yes, right,
Yeah.
yeah, and there's just a lot of people, gods, titans, everybody in
Yeah.
this.
Lot
So
going on.
for the children of Chaos and Gaia, Chaos gave birth to Erebus, which is darkness, and Nyx, which
Okay.
is night. So remember,
Right.
Chaos is at the top. It's like the nothing. So uh, Erebus slept with his sister Nyx, and out of this union, Ether, the bright upper air, came about, and Hemera, the
Oh,
day,
cool.
emerged as well. And afterward,
Okay.
feared by everyone but her brother, Night herself fashioned a family of haunting forces all by herself. So these were her children. Um, so these are the
Oh,
children
okay, that
of
makes
Night.
sense.
Yeah, it kind of like goes down. So Night's children included the hateful Morose or Fate, the Black Care,
Oh,
Doom,
right.
Thanatos, which is death,
Ooh.
Hypnos, which is sleep,
Right.
the Onoroi, which is dreams. If you watched Sandman, they call him the Onoroi
So
at one
cool.
point. Um,
Oh, they
and then
do. Okay.
yeah, yeah, he's the
I
Onoroi.
forgot about that.
It's like Oneiroi, Onoroi. And it's like a
You know,
crazy looking word.
yeah. I feel like they come up in mine like at least once. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
Uh,
That's so
then there was,
interesting.
I think it's
Yeah.
Garrus or Girus, which is old age. The Oasis, which is
Okay.
pain. Oasis is pain. There was Nemesis, which was
Oh,
revenge. Eris,
right.
which is strife. Uh, Apate, which was
Okay.
deceit. Uh, Philatos, which was sexual pleasure. I don't know why that had to come from night. I don't know. Momos, which was blame, and the
She's got a
Hesperides,
lot.
which was the daughters of the evening.
Ooh, that's fun.
Hesperides,
Sounds fun
Hesperides.
anyway.
Yeah, so that's all her kids, the children of
Holy
the night.
shit.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, this
Wow.
family tree is like just crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. I yeah, I haven't heard of most of those and I
right? Yeah. I looked and
yeah,
some of them are
that
on the family tree, so that's why I kind of picked that one because it seemed one of the better ones. So then
okay.
Gaia and Uranus, I think, had a union. So, or no, Gaia gave birth to Uranus, which is the starry sky. Uranus, even though it's her child, became Gaia's husband and surrounded her
It's
from
her
all
baby and her
sides.
baby daddy.
Yeah,
What?
right? So,
Yes.
yeah.
A lot of that going on.
Yeah, so
It's
Uranus,
my
the
brother
starry.
uncle.
I'm my own
Sorry.
grandpa.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly.
So once
Oh,
Uranus became Gaia's husband, and Uranus is like the starry sky, it said that it
okay.
surrounded her from all sides. So she's surrounded by the starry sky from all sides. And together they
Ooh.
produced three sets of children. They produced three one eyed cyclops.
Oh
So that was
no.
one set of
On
children.
purpose? Oh no, triplet cyclopses?
Yeah, well, there's three different
Wait.
sets of kids. So
Okay.
the
Yeah, like
first set
okay.
was three one eyed cyclops. The second set of kids were 300 handed hecaton- uh, hecatoncheires. So there's
Okay.
three of them, and each of them are 100 handed
Oh
hecatoncheires.
my god. Okay, I never
Yeah,
heard of those ones.
yeah, me neither. They come up a few times. They're kind of like
It's like a
warriors.
centipede.
Yeah,
Well, they
they're kind
have
of
or wait,
warriors. They're in the
yeah.
battles. And
Weird.
then
I mean, I would want 100 hands if I could
yeah,
also focus on 100 things at once.
yeah.
Otherwise, what good is it?
And the last set was the 12 Titans. So that was Gaia and
Okay.
Uranus. So then there's the castration of Uranus. So it said that, however, Uranus was a cruel husband and an even crueler father. He hated his
Damn.
children, yeah, and didn't allow them to see the light of day. So he imprisoned them into the hidden places of the earth, which he chose Gaia's womb. And this angered
Oh,
Gaia, and
okay.
she plotted with her sons against Uranus. And she made a harp, which was a great, like, sickle, kind of sword sickle.
Ooh,
And
cool.
yeah, and she tried to incite her children to rise up and attack Uranus, but they were all too afraid to do this, except for the youngest Titan, Cronus.
Ooh,
So, yeah,
Kronos.
Cronus. Gaia and Cronus set up an ambush for Uranus. As he was preparing to lie with Gaia, Cronus castrated him with the sickle,
Holy shit.
throwing his
That's
severed
rough.
right. Oh, it's brutal. They threw his
Okay.
severed genitals into the ocean. It said it's unclear what happened to
Okay.
Uranus afterward. He either died or withdrew from the Earth or exiled himself to Italy. I feel like that's
Some of this sounds familiar, not gonna lie,
yeah,
but it still doesn't get any less weird every time you
yeah,
hear anything about someone throwing their genitals in the sea.
right, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
okay.
so from the blood that was spilled on the Earth due to his castration emerged the giants, the melee
Oh.
or the ash tree nymphs, the
Ooh.
ironies or the furies, and from the sea foam that was produced when his genitals fell into the ocean arose Aphrodite, the goddess of beauty.
That part, yes,
Yeah.
I will touch on a bit in my segment, but
Oh, okay.
it's so awesome.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, how did your parents meet? Well, there was.
My mom got mad and threw my dad's genitals into the ocean, and I rose up out of the
It's
foam.
complicated. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so
Amazing.
they were looking for a new ruler with um like him gone, Uranus.
Okay.
So they were looking for a new ruler, and Cronus, because he had attacked him, became the next ruler. He imprisoned the Cyclops and the Hecatoncheires in
Okay.
Tartarus, and he set up a
Yeah, I don't know.
Dungeness camp to
Tartar
guard
sauce.
them. Tartar sauce. He set them up
Tartar
in the
sauce.
tartar
Yeah,
sauce.
just kidding.
Yeah, so they're there. There's a Dragoness camp to guard them, and he ends up marrying
Damn.
his sister, the Titaness Rhea, who they end up having
Oh.
5 children.
Oh,
Uh,
great. Okay.
yeah. It said, however, Gaia and
So,
Uranus had both prophesied that Cronus would eventually be overthrown by one of his sons. So it's kind of like the same kind of thing.
okay.
So then, just like his
Yeah.
father, Cronus maltreated his children. He ended up devouring each of them, like, as soon as they were
Oh, wow.
born.
Oh
And
my God.
yeah, all 5 of his
He's like a
kids.
freaking mama pig.
Yeah,
What else eats their babies?
I don't know.
That's crazy.
Dinosaurs in all the movies. Uh,
Maybe. And I love pigs, don't get me wrong. But
Sorry,
animals
Gordo's
are
being super
wild.
distracting. He's trying to use a Kleenex box as a pillow right now, and it keeps sliding. It's very adorable, and it's like happening so close to me. Are you
Oh, and
sad?
he's almost making a bridge. Like there's
Yeah.
this whole thing I follow on Reddit where it's like dog bridges where they put their head like onto the coffee table or something and
Yeah.
make a little dog bridge. Yeah.
So cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Rhea, his sister and his wife, uh,
Right.
ends up
Right. His
becoming
sister wife.
distressed. His sister wives. Uh, Rhea was distressed by Cronus's treatment of her children, and just like Gaia before him, plotted against her husband. On the advice of
Okay.
her, yeah, on the advice of her mother, when it came time to give birth to her sixth child, Rhea hid herself on Crete and left the newborn child to be raised by the nymphs on the island. So she hid
Oh
the child,
wow.
and to conceal her act, she wrapped a stone in swaddling clothes and passed it off as the supposed baby to Cronus, who was unaware of her intentions and swallowed
Oh,
what he thought was the child, but it was just a rock.
oh my god. This
Yeah.
is our baby. Okay, if you say so.
Swallow it whole.
That was a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Um
Wow. Okay.
so the child that she managed to get away, that was the sixth and only, or the other children are still alive, but so this is the only one that's still like
Okay.
around. This child was Zeus. And
Oh my god. Okay.
yeah, he was raised by the
Wow.
nymphs Adastia and Ida and the she goat Amalthea. He quickly
The
grew
she
into
goat.
the she goat. That's what it says. She dash goat.
Oh great. He
Yeah,
was raised on goat's
Amalthea.
milk, straight from the teat. No, I don't know. That's crazy.
He quickly
Because he
grew
has a
in.
thing with a lot of animals, that Zeus, you know? So maybe this
Yeah.
is pretty telling that his like wet nurse is like a goat or whatever she
Oh,
is.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it said he quickly grew into a handsome youth in a cave at the Cretan Mount Ida. And when the time came, he left
Wow.
Crete to ask his future wife, the Titaness Metis or Wisdom, for advice on how to defeat Cronus, his father.
Okay.
She answered by preparing a drink indistinguishable from Cronus's favorite wine, but designed to make him vomit
Ooh.
for ages. So Zeus
That's
disguised.
mean.
Yeah, that's brutal.
I'd be
Zeus
pissed.
disguised himself as the god's cupbearer, and after a while was able to successfully slip the drink to Cronus. The plan
Wow.
worked perfectly, and Cronus started vomiting and spilled out all of Zeus's five siblings, but only after throwing up the stone.
Okay.
Yeah, so he rescued
He
his
just like,
siblings.
okay, and this guy like barfed up like five
Five
children in a
kids and a
stone.
rock.
Okay.
Uh,
Wow.
so the stone called Amphipolis, or the navel, was later set up by the
Ooh.
Delphi by two eagles Zeus sent to meet at the center of the world. And overwhelmed with gratitude, Rhea's children, Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon, all recognized Zeus as their leader. So they're the big ones.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
more
heard of
familiar
some of them.
names. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy like how much Greek mythology has seeped into the modern world so that like a lot of these names are still well known, like
Right.
Zeus, Hades, and a lot of the other ones. Yeah,
Well,
it's
they
like
like
wow.
some things that were coming up were like the Percy Jackson series and the Olympians. I feel
Oh
like
yeah.
made a big difference in it too. Um, because a lot of
Yeah, like
people
a
like
lot of
those
stuff keeps it
books.
alive.
Yeah.
They still keep getting referenced and stuff. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting how that works though, because like there's so much mythology that's really cool, but like isn't well known around the world.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
thought this was cool, and I don't know. I find it like it's okay to follow. It's not too complicated.
No, it's
Yeah.
and it's interesting to learn more about names that you might have heard before but never knew much about.
Yeah, this is kind of a summary. Like, I'm sure you could go like in depth onto any of these. It's kind of split up into like two block
God.
paragraphs about like different things. So the
Nice.
next in the creation story was the Titanomaki. Um,
Oh.
so this is the
Is that all
uh,
one word? Or is that the
yeah,
name of a Titan? Oh,
no.
okay.
So it was the name given basically to um it's a decade long war that occurred between the Titans and the Olympians. Um,
Okay.
yeah.
Gotcha.
So this occurred because Cronus was still in command and hadn't been defeated yet, but he was too old to protect himself against the attacks of his children now that they were free. So he enlisted the help of the faithful Titans, who also feared the new generation of gods. And this led to the decade long war between the Titans and the Olympians, and it was
Oh,
remembered by
wow.
generations as the Titanomaki. And Atlas became the Titans' leader and led his army to many victories. At one point, it seemed that Zeus would be defeated. However, at the advice of Gaia, he went to Tartarus and released the Cyclops and the Hectacon-
The
Hectoncheires,
Decepticons?
the
No,
Decepticons.
just kidding.
Um,
Sorry.
so he released them, and in gratitude, the
Okay.
Cyclops provided Zeus with his signature thunderbolt. So that was made by the Cyclops, the three that he released. And they also made the trident that was used by
Yes.
Poseidon and the helmet of invisibility that is used by Hades. And this said that the tables had
Oh,
turned. Um,
he has a helmet of invisibility? That's fucking
I had
cool.
never heard of that, but it comes up again. I'm sure it does.
Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I feel like we've all heard of the Poseidon trident thing. Like,
Yeah, and the
I mean,
Thunderbolt.
yeah,
Mm,
exactly. Yeah, and Zeus was even in Thor Love and Thunder,
yeah, the
which was
Thunderbolt.
cool. Yeah.
It says,
Yeah.
however, as so many times before, the final victory would not be the result of brute force, but it would happen due to a
Mm.
cunning little trick, possibly devised by Prometheus, who had deserted from the Titans' army beforehand. Armed with
Oh.
boulders, the Hecatoncheires. I keep putting the T in the wrong spot.
That is
Hecatoncheires.
such a word, though.
Yeah,
Hecatoncheires? Yeah,
yeah, it's
I
H
can't
E
even say it
C
once.
A T O N C H E I R E S.
Oh my
Hecatoncheires.
god.
Um, they're the
Nailed it.
100. Those are the 300-handed people. So they set an
Oh
ambush
god.
for the Titans. At the right time, Zeus
Okay.
retreated his forces and drawed the Titans into the Hecatoncheires' trap. The 100-handed ones started raining down hundreds of boulders with such a fury that the Titans thought the mountains were falling down upon them.
Oh wow.
Which, yeah,
Yeah,
they're
that's not good.
good in a battle. Yeah. They ran
Yeah, yeah, no
away.
kidding.
Yeah, their forces ran away, and Zeus could finally consider himself king of the universe. Uh,
Oh, okay. Cody now.
yeah. After this, Zeus exiled the
Yeah.
Titans who had fought against him to Tartarus, and he made an exception with Atlas, who was the leader of the other, or the leader of the Titans. Because he was the leader
Okay.
of the opposing force, he was punished to hold the universe on his shoulders. That was his punishment.
I love Atlas. His thing is so
Yeah.
iconic though. There's even a Metallica song that's it's called like Atlas Rise.
Oh,
And one
okay.
time I was walking downstairs in the morning. And I'm not a morning person, and Pat was just like looked at me and was like, Lana, rise, like in the same style of the song. And I just looked at him
Nice.
like, shut up. What is
It's too early.
what's wrong with you?
Yeah. After this, so Atlas is now holding up the world. Zeus's power would be challenged on a few occasions afterward. Just after the Titanomachy, his grandmother Gaia, who was outraged by the imprisonment of her children, issued forth one last child of her, the monstrous Typhon. He was so
Oh.
fearsome that most of the gods fled the second they saw him. However, Zeus himself didn't hesitate. He faced the monster, and using the power of his lightning bolts, he was able to defeat it. And it said that Typhon was subsequently buried under Mount Etna in Sicily. It's,
Oh, yeah, that's a
yeah.
real thing. That's
They say that
cool.
you can still hear him growling under the volcano, and that someday in the distant future he will return to challenge Zeus once again.
Oh my
So that's where
God.
the like
Wow.
creation one ends, which was pretty cool. Um,
Yeah, that went through a lot.
yeah,
No, it's cool how it like tied into a mountain in Italy or whatever. I don't know. It's just like,
yeah,
oh, or a volcano. I love
yeah, it's pretty cool. And his
it.
growling and like anger is the rumbling from the volcano.
Oh, that's so cool.
So the next one I had was the creation of man, and how that came about by Prometheus.
Bum bum
Um,
bum.
yeah.
Let's hear
So
it. They're all crazy, these creation of man stories.
yeah. So Prometheus is forethought. I think he's supposed to
Oh,
be.
I just
Yeah.
always think of that alien movie that was like Alien
Oh,
Prometheus. Like it's like a reboot or whatever.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah. It's like okay.
Yeah, so Prometheus is forethought, and I believe it's supposed to be his brother, or I assume probably it's a sibling. That's Epimetheus, who's afterthought. There are two
Oh,
titans.
that's
Yeah,
cool.
so they'd be siblings. They're titans. They were spared
Okay.
imprisonment by Zeus after the Titanomachy because they had not fought alongside the other titans. And
Okay. That
yeah, so
makes
they hadn't
sense.
fought during it, so they weren't imprisoned like the other titans were. Instead, they were given the task of creating man. And Prometheus
Oh.
shaped, yeah, what a task. Prome yeah,
Yeah, no shit.
Prometheus shaped man out of mud, and Athena breathed life into the clay figure that he had shaped. Uh,
Okay, I
Prome-
was literally gonna say you hear about stories where we just like come from clay.
yeah, that's this.
Okay.
So Prometheus then assigned Epimetheus with the task of giving the creatures of Earth their various qualities, such as swiftness, cunning, strength, fur, wings. You know, I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
All the
swiftness, cunning, strength, fur, wings? Question mark. It's like, okay, what a list. Uh, yeah,
right. Oh yeah. Some of the things that we lack now for our
yeah.
claws
Uh,
can't be as important.
Unfortunately, by the time he got to man, Epimetheus had given all the good qualities out, and there were none left for man. Which I
Oh,
thought was cool. Yeah.
thanks.
So Prometheus decided to make man stand up straight, just like the gods did, and to give them fire, which this is one of the
Oh,
only clarifications I got from another thing, because it wasn't stated, is that fire was viewed to only be supposed to be used by the gods. So him giving people fire is a
right.
really, really big deal.
Okay, yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. That's kind of what he's known for, I think.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So
Yeah. I mean,
Prometheus,
we're glad we have it.
yeah, couldn't do much
Yeah.
without it.
No.
So Prometheus loved man more than he loved the Olympians, who had banished most of his family away to that tartar sauce. So when so when Zeus decreed that man must sacrifice a portion of each food to the gods, Prometheus decided to trick Zeus. He created two piles, one with bones wrapped in juicy fat, and another with the finest meat hidden inside a hide. Um, so
Oh,
like hidden.
okay.
So he then
Like a
asked
taste
Zeus,
test
I
or
think it's
something.
more like I don't know what it means by a hide, like probably just a hiding spot.
Well,
Like it's supposed to be hidden so he can't see.
like a hide could just refer to the animal's hide, so it's like almost like they're trying to
Yeah.
put the good meat off as being like
Oh
a
yeah.
bad old meat. Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
weird.
So he then asked Zeus to choose one of the piles. Zeus, who was unaware, chose the bones, and since he had given his word, he was forced to accept the bones as his share for future sacrifices. And in his anger over this trick, he took fire away from man.
God damn it.
However, yeah, so we are without fire again. However, Prometheus lit a torch from the sun and brought it back again to man. And this outraged Zeus, and that man now had fire again, and he decided to inflict a terrible punishment on both man and Prometheus. To punish man's.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
wouldn't like that.
no. So
You're
to
too
punish.
powerful.
Oh, yeah, like that's not good. So
Yeah.
to punish man, Zeus had Hephaestus, I think it's Hephaestus, create a mortal of stunning beauty, and the gods gave the mortal many gifts of wealth. He then had Hermes give the mortal a deceptive heart and a lying tongue. And this
Oh,
creation was called Pandora, the first woman.
oh
Mm-hmm.
no.
Yeah.
I know a little bit
Each,
about that name.
yeah. Each of the gods gave her a gift, and Zeus's gift was a jar which Pandora was forbidden to open. And thus
Oh,
Zeus sent
oh.
Pandora to Epimetheus to be his wife. And at this time, Epimetheus had decided to live amongst man or men. So
Okay.
Prometheus had warned Epimetheus not to accept any gifts from Zeus, but Pandora's beauty was far too great, so he let her stay. And
Of
eventually,
course.
Pandora's curiosity about the forbidden jar overwhelmed her, and she opened it, which released all the evils
Oh.
upon the world.
Oh
The
no. We've all heard of Pandora's box.
Yeah, I guess it was supposed to be a jar. I don't know. Some of the things said box,
Interesting.
and most of them said jar, though.
Right. So probably like a mistranslation that we
Yeah.
kind of continue on to this day. That's interesting.
One thing I hadn't heard before, or maybe didn't remember, was that after she had opened it, there was only one thing left in the jar when she was able to close the lid again, and that was hope. And
Oh.
yeah, later Pandora and Epimetheus let hope out of the jar, so it too could be free after all the evils have been released. They let out the hope, and
Oh.
that spread through mankind. So I thought that was nice.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
Cuz like I don't know, I think I heard a quote earlier that was something like along the lines of when everything else is gone, like that hope is still there, or hope is the first. Oh my god, we were watching Lord of the Rings, so it was very
Oh,
flowery. It was like hope is the first eye to open up again or something like that.
yeah.
Yeah, but I get it.
Um, yeah, so all this happens, and then Zeus is very angry at Prometheus for three things:
Mm.
for being tricked about those sacrifices, the two piles he had to choose from,
Yeah,
and for stealing fire over and over again for mankind, and for
of
refusing to
course.
tell Zeus which of Zeus's children would end up dethroning him,
Oh my
which we didn't really talk
god.
about. Yeah. So Zeus commanded his servants, who were force and violence, to seize Prometheus and take him to the Caucasus Mountains, where he was chained to a rock with unbreakable diamond chains.
Oh
And
no.
yeah, there he was tormented day and night by a giant eagle who tore out his liver. Uh, Zeus gave Prometheus 2 ways to get out of his torment. He could tell Zeus who the mother of the child would be, or who tell Zeus who the mother of the child that would dethrone him was, or meet two
Right.
conditions. First, that an immortal must volunteer to die for him, and second, that a mortal must kill the eagle and unchain him. And
Oh, okay.
yeah,
It
eventually,
involved. Yeah.
Chiron the centaur agreed to die for him, and Hercules, or Heracles, yeah, Heracles killed the eagle and
Same,
unbound
same.
him.
I think he goes
Yeah,
by both names. Yeah.
yeah, so he killed the eagle and
Okay.
unbound him. So
Nice.
that's where, I don't know, I find them, they end so abruptly, but that's the creation of man.
Right? And why are some creation myths like so violent almost? Like I think back to
Yeah.
the Scandinavian one that I did and it was like and then they killed this giant and then they made everything
Yeah.
out of his bones and his hair and his skull and that made the world and you're like, man, these always involve someone dying. In the Magicians, which I
Mhm.
don't know, we briefly mentioned earlier, but is a really good book and show that's
Yeah.
like college age magicians, you know. Harry
Yeah,
Potter
they
for
called it
college.
like Harry Potter and Narnia, but college students who were like, I'm gonna use magic
Totally.
to make drugs cooler. Like,
You could tell it's very influenced by someone who read Narnia, yeah, because
yeah.
they have the whole book novel thing, yeah, a fake world, fillery
Yeah.
instead of Narnia. Yeah, 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 yeah. But oh shit, whatever I was saying. They I can't remember now. They definitely came up when I was doing my research. I was like, I remember hearing about this from the magician.
Oh,
So that is kind of weird, but good show, guys. Anyway.
I have one more thing though.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's not very long. It's shorter. And that was on the website. It had they entitled it Medusa, the real story of the snake-haired Gorgon. Gorgon.
Oh, yeah, she's
Yeah.
pretty damn famous, but I don't know much about her story.
It was kind of
Yeah.
cool. Um so yeah, it's Medusa who, this is what it had at the start. It said whose name probably comes from the ancient Greek word for guardian. Um
Oh.
yeah, was one of 3 Gorgons who were daughters of the sea gods, Porphys and Ceto. Por-
Okay.
Porcus, I don't know.
I
And
know,
the
their names are
sister,
so wild.
right?
Yeah.
And they were the sisters of Gray and Sidna and Ladon. All of Medusa's siblings were
Okay.
monsters by birth, and
Okay.
she herself was the only one who wasn't, but she had the misfortune of being turned into the most hideous of them all.
Oh no.
Yeah, so she was
Just
the
like
only
fuck
one.
you in particular. Yeah.
Hmm.
Why?
From then on, similarly to her sisters, her older Gorgon sisters, Medusa was depicted with bronze hands and wings of gold, the which I had never heard
Mm.
of before.
Yeah. Wings of gold. Interesting.
Yeah. Poets claimed that she had great boar-like tusk and tongue that lolled between her fanged teeth, but
Oh,
also never heard that.
lol.
I yeah, lolled. I did hear, and most people have heard about the writhing snakes that entwined her head in the place of her hair,
Yeah.
and her
Oh,
face.
totally. That's yeah, that's pretty, I feel like well known,
Yeah,
but the rest of it, Couldn't tell you.
right? It said that her
Yeah.
face was so hideous and her gaze so piercing that the mere sight of her was sufficient to turn a man to stone. Um,
Right. Her
and on
famous
the
stone abilities.
yeah, on the Greek mythology website, it said it wasn't always like that. Medusa, who was the only mortal among the Gorgon sisters, was also distinguished from them by the fact that she alone was born with a beautiful face. So she
Oh.
wasn't an ugly monster. And Ovid, I think, especially praised the glory that was her hair as being the most wonderful of all of her charms.
Oh.
And mhm, the great sea god Poseidon had an admiration for her, and he couldn't resist the temptation of her and ended up impregnating Medusa at the temple of Athena. And
Damn.
yeah, enraged, the virgin
Okay.
goddess transformed Medusa's enchanting hair into a coil of serpents and turned the youngest Gorgon into the monster that, like, we all know.
Okay. So they saw this and got pissed,
Yeah,
and that's how she got transformed into a snakehead?
basically.
Okay.
She was mad. Soon after this, trying to get rid of Perseus, Polydectes,
Okay.
the king of, oh my god, so many words underlined, Seriphos, yeah, king of Seriphos, sent the great
Right.
hero on a quest which he believed must be his final one, and that was to fetch me the
Okay.
head of Medusa. So, with the help of Athena and Hermes, after compelling the Graeae for Medusa's whereabouts, Perseus finally reached the fabled land of the Gorgons and located, or that was located either in the far west beyond the outer ocean or in the midst of it on a rocky island. Medusa was
Mm.
asleep, and Perseus, using the reflection in Athena's bronze shield as a guide, so he wasn't having to look directly at her and be turned to stone, he managed to cut off her
Right.
head with his sickle.
So smart.
Mm-hmm.
Have a little mirror with you.
Yeah.
Or
Uh,
whatever. Yeah.
what they didn't know was that Medusa was pregnant at the time of her death, which I had never heard. And
Oh
mm,
no.
yeah, when Perseus severed her head, her two unborn children, Cryosaur and Pegasus, suddenly sprang from her neck. The Gorgons were
Oh
awoken
no.
by her Gorgon sisters were awoken by the noise and did their best to avenge the death of her sister, but they could neither see nor catch Perseus as he was wearing Hades' cap of invisibility and Hermes' winged sandals.
Oh my
Um,
God. I've heard of those sandals. Yeah, they can
yeah.
go so fast or whatever. Damn
Uh,
it.
so they went back to their secluded abode to mourn Medusa. Pindar, a great ancient Greek poet, said that upon hearing their gloomy lament, Athena was so touched that she modeled after it the mournful music of the double pipe, the aulos. Sounds like a bitch
Oh.
thing to do. You're wailing. I'm gonna make it
Interesting.
into the sounds of a musical instrument. Um,
Okay, yeah, whatever.
yeah.
Hmm.
Uh, now that Perseus, I think, yeah, now that Perseus had Medusa's head in a bag, he went back to Seriphos. However, while flying over Libya, drops of Medusa's blood fell onto the ground and instantly turned into snakes. And because of
Oh
that,
boy.
to this day, Libya is abound with serpents. So it was supposed to be Medusa's
Oh
blood.
my God.
And when
I didn't
Perseus,
realize that.
right? That's why I'm like, oh, this is so cool. Um, when Perseus arrived in Seriphos, he used Medusa's head to turn Polydectes and the vicious islanders into stone. And the island itself is actually well known for its numerous rocks. So those are supposed to be all the islanders that were turned to stone.
Oh wow. So
Yeah.
cool.
After this, Perseus gave Medusa's head to his benefactor Athena as a vote of gift. This goddess sent it to Zeus's Aegis, um, which she
Okay.
also carried
I guess.
as the Gorgonian. She also collected some of the remaining blood and gave most of it to Asclepius, who used the blood from Medusa's left side to take people's lives and the blood from her right side to raise people from the dead, which is
Oh my
crazy.
gosh.
Yeah, I'm like, this is so
Okay.
insane. The rest of Medusa's blood, a vial that contained just 2 drops, Athena gave to her adopted son, Erictona. I don't know. I give up.
Oh, I'm not sure. That one
Euripide.
sounded like a random normal name. Eric Tana?
Yeah, it's
It's
like
like Eric Smith?
Eric Thonius. I don't know. Uh,
Okay, okay.
I don't fucking know. Uh,
Fair enough.
and Euripide says that one of the drops was a cure-all and the other one was a deadly poison. So that's the 2
Oh
drops of the blood
no.
that remain. Um, the last thing was just that as the protector of heroes, Athena put aside in a bronze jar a lock of Medusa's hair for Hercules or Heracles, who subsequently gave it to Capheus' daughter, Sterope, who
Okay.
or to use it to protect her hometown. Supposedly, even though it didn't have the power of Medusa's gaze, the lock could still cast terror into any enemy who was unfortunate enough to even accidentally behold it.
Oh my god, wow. That's
Yeah,
powerful.
right? But there. Now it's done.
Insane.
Yeah. It's so cool. I could have read
So,
like everything on GreekMythology.com. It's so much.
oh, totally. Oh man. Yeah, it's like Britannica or whatever, any other online sort of encyclopedia type one where it's like, and this person was then from this person,
Yeah.
and you can click on then that person's name and read their
Yeah.
backstory, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy. It goes
When I
back
was
like so many layers.
when I was trying to figure out what
Wow.
I wanted to talk about, I think I had like 30 tabs open and I just would like read through it and then be like, ah, no, that's a little too much. And then be like, close, what's the next thing? But
Yes. I know, we're like trying to condense it. Like, what should I do for this one episode? Not that we have to cover it all, but still, you're like, what should
yeah.
I do?
Yeah, Greek
Wow, that was pretty
mythology, there's a lot.
crazy. So much. If you guys want, we will definitely revisit it because I didn't get to all the things that I wanted to do
Yeah.
from the two different things that I was like, what are like the scariest or the this? You know what I mean? Like you're just like
Yeah.
trying to find something interesting to cover. So you're like, what is my angle? I'm like, oh my god, I could cover
Well, that's
like
why
so many different little stories.
yeah, that's why I thought the creation one was a good one because you did a creation one and I hadn't done one. I was like, that would be a good place to start.
Oh
So,
yes. We could totally
mhm.
do a creation myth episode and just pick a random, you know.
Yeah,
This one has a fun one. Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, good job. Yeah.
Thank you. Does that say it?
Watch out for Medusa as you make your way to the bathroom, like I'm about to go do.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll be right back. Um, my inspiration was first, I think I Googled, I think I started with the scariest. What are the scariest Greek gods or Greek myths or whatever, something along those lines.
Ooh.
And then, oh my God, but that one, I didn't get a nice, neat list of something. I got like, I don't know, like 15 to 20 names from like Wikipedia. I was like, great, this is a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And then I Googled like more like what are the sexiest ones in Greek mythology. And then I got like a list of 8 badass, sexy Greek goddesses. And
Ooh.
it was like, thank you. What was it from? Medium.com.
Okay. I've used them a few times. They're pretty good.
Right? I like when you stumble across something or like there's a good All That's Interesting or Atlas Obscura article
Yes.
because you know
Yep.
they got some weird stuff.
Yeah, all those ones. Multiple times I've used.
I love hearing other podcasters be like, yeah, sometimes I find stuff on this one or whatever.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, it was funny enough that you should bring up Nyx because she was number one on this list of badass goddesses, and I thought she sounded pretty cool.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, like you said, she was goddess of the night and born to Gaia, so that we know. Oh, you know, there's probably a lot of pictures, but most of the pictures that were on the list that I saw were from like Pinterest and other stuff where it's like people's drawings and like so I
Yeah.
didn't put any on the drive, but that
That's what I was like,
but
the
like just
family tree. Yeah.
right, which yeah. Anyway, just picture just, you know, beautifully drawn women for like all of these.
Okay.
And this one, apparently, she's usually drawn either with wings or on a chariot or crowned with like a dark mist on her
Oh,
head, I guess.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I think you also said this that she can bring sleep or like she has the ability to bring about death to humans.
No. I don't see any.
Maybe. Okay, okay. She's pretty powerful. Um, she was so powerful that Zeus was intimidated by her because she was that ancient and strong. Um, and she's also associated with Moonstone, so you can use that during a full moon to honor her. Which maybe we'll talk about that when we do our witches episode on Patreon.
Yeah.
This I feel like came up. Nyx married Erebus, the god of darkness, and then they made the children Hemera Day and Aether the Light. I think they came up in your segment already.
Yeah. I think so. They
Yeah.
were somewhere in there.
Because
I
she has
think.
a buttload of kids. She's the one with the
Yeah.
tons of kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fate, sleep, death, strife, pain. Yeah. Jairus, Karis, and the Honorai. Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
So
All
also I
those.
had that Hera, or Zeus's wife and goddess of birth and marriage, asked Hypnos to put Zeus to sleep so that she could like plot against him, against Zeus.
Oh.
This reminds me of Guardians of the Galaxy a little bit because like she tries but she's not powerful enough. It's kind of like when Mantis is trying to put what's his name, Eon under. He's
Oh,
like a
with the feelings.
planet, so
Yeah.
she can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's not strong enough, Hypnos. So Zeus woke up and took off after Hypnos. And since that's one of Nyx's kids, she came along and hid him in a cave. So Zeus was just like, fine, fuck it. Do whatever you want. I'll stop chasing you.
Surprising. Surprising you let it go.
Right? From what I gathered from a lot of these articles, yeah, he really is. He's involved in a lot of things and doesn't usually let things go
Yeah.
exactly that easily. You're right. And then number two is good old Aphrodite. She's quite well known. We all know that song.
Yeah.
She's so high. Like Aphrodite. And she has a varied backstory, but like you touched upon, the consensus seems to suggest that she appeared when the Titan Kronos castrated his father Venus and threw his dangly bits into the ocean. Which is just so fun, it bears repeating, I guess.
Yeah. Just in case you forgot.
I just love it. I'm like, okay. But you do usually see her depicted on a shell, so I'm like, that makes sense now.
Yeah, the birth of Venus one.
Yeah. Yeah, she arose. There was beautiful foam, and she's fully formed and sexy. She was like the daughter of Zeus and Dion, his consort at Dodona. I mean, I guess we all just can agree that Zeus just fucks everywhere he goes.
Right?
Literally in
Any,
whatever.
like, yeah, everybody, everything.
Anything that moves. Aphrodite also, enjoyed getting around and stuff too, or getting it on and stuff. She had relations with quite a few gods and guys, like mortal guys. There was Ares, Poseidon, Adonis, Anchises, maybe, and Dionysus. But all the while, she was just married to Hephaestus. I
Oh,
don't know.
I attempted that one too. I know exactly what you're looking at.
It's a toughie.
Yeah,
A lot of A's and E's, like so many vowels. Yeah. And
yeah.
he was apparently the god of fire, but I had to look it up because they were like born lame, and I was like, what? It said,
Oh,
yeah, born lame and cast from heaven. And I was like, okay, that's rough.
yeah.
These gods, I tell you, they are brutal, but also very horny.
Right?
Yeah, Adonis, I had questions about whether he was a god or a mortal. And apparently he was a mortal at one point who was a lover of Aphrodite, and one day he was gored by a wild boar during a hunting trip and died in Aphrodite's arms as she wept. Yikes.
Yeah.
And his blood mingled with her tears and then became the anemone flower. That was pretty sad. I don't
Oh,
know.
I thought he was some big god or something.
I honestly half fell down a bit of a rabbit hole about him. There was a
Yeah.
lot when I went to look up stories about, or like how his origin story. And then as he goes on,
Yeah.
like the stories with Aphrodite, like there was a lot. It was
Okay.
surprising.
So I'm like, I feel like I know that name very well, and
Right?
like for that to be
Because
just like it.
yeah. It become like one of those like terms. It's just like a turn of phrase. You're like,
Yeah.
to say an Adonis just might mean like a beautiful looking guy. Like you just say
Yeah.
that. uh, okay, I don't know. These are her boatload of kids. Aphrodite and Eros had Harmonia, Phobos, and Deimos, which were twin. Phobos and Deimos were twins, and Eros. And Eros is the god of passionate or sensual love.
Yeah.
I guess Aphrodite, like with the Aphros, that translates to foam. And also, Aphrodite was worshipped as the seafaring goddess or goddess of the sea. And sometimes she's
Oh.
apparently referred to as a god of war. Yeah,
Okay,
did
I had
not know.
heard about her being a god of war.
Oh,
I feel like
really?
from something, and everybody was really confused, being like, "Isn't that Ares?"
I feel like a lot of them embody a few different things, so that's where you get a
Yeah.
lot of overlapping. Yeah. And then there's also their like Roman counterparts too. So that I tried to
Oh,
include a lot
okay.
of what their like names were in the Roman version because that can be
Yeah.
very confusing when they represent like the same thing.
That might be why I'm.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I might be confused about some of them too, because when I say Eris, I'm like, that one sounds Roman to me, but I also, it kept coming up in the Greek mythology research.
They probably borrowed from each other a bit.
Right. And they're, yeah, it's like an AKA. They're known by this different name. So yeah, in places like Sparta, Thebes, and Cyprus, that's where especially she is known as the goddess of war, which is cool. And also one of the podcasters that we kind of know on Instagram there is from Cyprus, the host of the
Yeah.
Beauty Unlocked. Yeah. Yeah, she's pretty cool chickie. She usually listens and, comments on our show and stuff.
Nice. Very
Um,
cool.
yeah, I think this is Mediterranean. I am
Hmm.
not sure. I would love to go there.
Yeah.
Apparently, mostly she's also called the goddess of fertility, and sex workers even claim her as their own deity and identify with her as their patron. Pretty cool.
Cool.
Yeah. And then we had the one called Psyche, which I at least know how to pronounce because we use that
Yeah.
word a lot these days. And she was born a mortal princess and daughter of a king who had two sisters who were less beautiful than she. So she was like the pretty one that was so adored and adorable that even the gods got jealous. And I wonder if that
Ooh.
reminds you
Did
of
she
any.
get cursed like Medusa?
Doesn't it sound like a weird, like, not a weird, but like almost just a normal fairy tale? Yeah, to me, it gives me
Yeah.
total Cinderella vibes or something.
Mm-hmm.
So Psyche fell in love with Eros, and Aphrodite, who was Eros's mom, set her some Herculean tasks to compete or to complete to win her approval. I
Oh.
guess to be able to be with Eros in some versions
Um,
anyway.
so she got sent the tasks.
Yes.
Okay.
But again, like this one did have other versions that I read that I think I might have a little bit on. Um, she had to like complete the tasks, including getting water from a serpent guarded river. And Aphrodite didn't probably think she could complete them because once she did, she still was like, meh, too bad, so sad. You still can't date him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks for doing all
kind of
my
a bit.
chores for me, though.
Yeah, kind of a bitchy move. It's like, what? um, so Zeus stepped in. Apparently he's always watching.
Yeah.
And made Psyche immortal and raised her up to Olympus so she and Eros could try and live happily ever after. And also, apparently, Eros is sometimes referred to the Roman as Cupid. So that one, I was like,
Okay.
oh, wait, he's the one that's supposed to set people up. Yeah, let's hope he can
I'm
get a
just
happily ever after.
I'm just shocked because it sounds like Zeus did a nice thing.
Yeah, I know. He's always just doing whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah, it sounds like he did something nice for once for somebody else.
Yeah. She is also the goddess of the soul and often represented with butterfly wings.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
and of the Sandman or whatever. And then there was
Yeah.
that one nightmare demony thing that he kind of banished for a
Yeah,
while because she was telling him the
she
truth
comes
and
back.
speaking up, and then he just restores her. I go, oh, Rain, I like this scene. Before you go upstairs, you probably like. She was about to go upstairs, and then she gets her little wings, and Rain was like,
Yeah.
oh, cute wings. I was like, yeah. Yeah, it was really
Yeah.
beautiful. I don't know. Psyche was once prophesied to marry a terrifying beast. she was also featured in the story called The Golden Ass.
The golden ass.
You know, yeah, like a donkey.
Yeah. For some
Or
reason
maybe
that
that
sounds familiar. I don't know.
title of your sex tape. No, that's Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I was like, it literally sounds like its own porn parody of itself. The Golden Ass.
Yeah.
They have it's complicated love story for Facebook. Uh, Basically something about she married Eros, but he hid his identity from her in one version. Even as I'm
No
saying
kidding.
this, I'm trying to remember. And after she found out what he looked like, then she was given the trials. Oh yeah, the trials from her mother. I don't know. It's complicated.
No weird.
Yeah. I was afraid to do too much of a deep dive in any of them because there was already 8. Also.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah. Next was number 4, Persephone, who sounds a
Yeah.
bit familiar.
It's one that gets dragged
She,
down to Hades, right? Or down to the underworld. Hades.
yeah, Hades, exactly. You were paying attention in class. First she was like the beautiful personification of vegetation, kind of like a goddess of spring with flowing locks of golden hair. um uh yeah, sounds like Moira Rose. No. And she was the daughter of Demeter, the goddess of the fertile earth. And she was just out merrily picking flowers one day when Hades up and absconds with her to the underworld and makes her his wife. But
Aw.
she was very well liked and helpful there, and she was talking to new residents, like talking them through their adjustments of to the afterlife.
Hmm.
And Hades gave her a nice garden for her to work in, which she really liked, with her green thumb, of course. So in time, she actually fell madly in love with Hades. But her mom,
Stockholm
Demeter,
syndrome. No.
he's tall, dark, and handsome. Bad boy
And may
syndrome.
if you believe the Hercules movie, his head's on fire.
What, the Disney one?
Yeah, remember his
Oh my
hair
god, I
is
like
just blue
never get
flame.
those quotes. I need to rewatch this one.
I need to watch it because it's so funny. It's been way too long.
It's so quoted. I'm like,
Yeah.
I always feel left out if there's like a quote I don't understand that everyone quotes
Yeah.
readily online. I'm like, what?
Yeah, Hercules was just classic. So good. I
Apparently.
haven't watched it in a long time.
I don't think we even showed it to Rain because it just wasn't one of the classics that I remember growing up with. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Her mom was still searching for her, however, for Persephone, and when her mom learned that where her daughter was, she threatened to curse the grounds to be forever poor and infertile, like all the ground of Earth, basically.
Yeah, not good.
Nope. And so Zeus is kind of plays mediator, I guess, and
Oh.
brokered a deal where Persephone would split her time, about 3 months under the earth spent each year with Hades, and the rest to be spent above on Mount Olympus. So that's where we get our winter when she's spent underground and her mother mourns her and grieves her and nothing grows. And then when she comes back up, that's when we have the rest of our year.
I feel like that I told you before about that play I did in like middle school. I think it was that
Okay.
part about like how spring came
I
about because I
like
know
it.
that. I already knew that. But it was
It's
somewhere in the back of my
cool.
mind that knowledge.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? I don't feel like we ever did a
Yeah.
cool play like that. I was in like a Wizard of Oz. Not that that's not cool, but yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I like it at least. Especially, I think maybe people do cling to things also that's like, if it's a shitty time of year, we're like, at least we can, haha, this is when Persephone is down with Hades. I don't know, something to
Yeah.
talk about or something to focus on other than the cold weather or whatever.
They need to reevaluate, at least in Canada, how long she's down there. 3 months is a lie. It's like
Right.
it's like 5. Get it
It
together.
is. It is. Is yeah, and we are kind of far north. And no, not everyone here is in igloos, but Edmonton is a little bit of a northern city.
Yeah, we get pretty
I
cold.
yeah. It's been the coldest the place that I've ever lived. Because living in Fredericton, it was hotter in the summer with the humidity, with all the water and stuff, but
Yeah.
like getting down to 40 below. I don't think we ever got to that. I don't know.
Wow.
We get lots of snow, and yes, it gets all in your mittens and stuff. So it's not to say it was any like better, really, but
Yeah.
I guess here we just perpetuate that Canadian stereotype that it's a cold place because it bloody well can be cold here.
Well, there's a reason like new vehicles and stuff sold here have to have the block heater and stuff in other
Yeah, that's not a
provinces in
thing.
Canada. Yeah,
Out
other
east.
provinces in Canada they you don't have to, but here they actually are legally required to have a block heater in there. Like,
I remember having asked
what?
that with my new car, and for those of you that don't know, it's like a cord that comes out from under your car engine hood that you plug
Yeah.
in to keep your, I think it's to keep a trickle charge to your battery so that your battery
Yeah.
like basically doesn't get frozen like while you're at work because it's bloody 40 Celsius below.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
Welcome to Alberta. Another version said that she's forced to go back to the underworld because she had eaten of its fruit, which was pomegranate seeds. Ooh. I don't know why I like
Um,
that.
okay.
And she's also known as Cora or Kore, and she's usually seen holding sheaves of grain and a torch.
Oh.
And next we have one that might be also a familiar name to some of us. It's Artemis. Um,
Yeah.
and the Roman name or equivalent would be Diana. So like the
Oh, I was
hunter,
gonna
the
say
huntress.
is she a warrior?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I know for sure that Diana is like the for sure like considered the huntress in Roman. And then I didn't know much about Artemis, but now I know a little bit. But yeah, she just seemed pretty badass.
Does she use like a bow and arrow and stuff?
um, it would seem so. She's
Yeah.
definitely presides over the forest and who gets to kill there. And like, yeah, they don't
Oh,
have guns or anything. But I don't know if she's always depicted with a bow and arrow. Excuse me. She's the daughter of Zeus and Leto, and she's the twin sister of Apollo. He apparently is the god of archery, music and dance, truth and prophecy, healing and diseases, the sunlight, poetry, and more.
everything. He's the all the leftovers.
I was like, this, whatever this one article is, yeah, that he's the god of everything. But she was born first, and then she helped her mom with her twins' birth. So she was pretty badass from the start. She like popped out and was like, "Oh, is he coming out fine?"
Let me get you a towel,
Let me.
Mom.
Yeah.
Would you like a
And
snack?
she's kind of. I love what she rules over. Wild animals, the hunts, vegetation, also kind of chastity and childbirth, which is a little bit opposites, but
Yeah.
nature in general. She loves to dance with nymphs in the woods, the mountains, the marshes. Um, and this is something I found similar to the Skogsra, the wood wife that we talked about, because she kind of has power over who kills the game in the forest and also protects a lot of the animals, especially young ones. So, like,
Hmm.
I like to think that's someone looking out for the animals that might get killed by unjustly by horrible hunters, and they kind of like try and intervene with that stuff. Just so
Yeah.
cool. She was a known man hater, opposed marriage and what it would do to a woman's life. I don't know if that was because of the times, but one hunter who happened to glance upon Artemis bathing naked in the stream couldn't look away, so she caught him staring and turned him into a stag. Oops,
Okay.
careful.
Yeah.
Next we have, ooh, I believe she's called Hebe, Hebe. Um, she
I
was like
would
a
think so.
cupbearer. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Look them up. They're all beautiful.
Yeah.
She fed ambrosia, the nectar of the gods, to the gods of Mount Olympus.
Oh.
Oh my god. Ambrosia. Pretty cool also. She has the power to restore youth, so everybody love her.
Yeah.
Yeah. She embodies the spirit of play and helpfulness, so she was known to be like always helping out. Like, her, she would help her mother, say, get into her chariot. She might run a bath for Ares, and feed grapes to Aphrodite, or that sort of thing. So
Not bad.
um, oh yeah. Until one day she apparently just ruined her reputation by tripping and slipping and having what I was going to call a major nip slip, because she tripped on her gown and it ripped open.
Okay.
Appar- I know. Apparently, that was enough for everyone just to think she was just a terrible, awful harlot. So she was royally dismissed.
Oh my god. That's terrible.
Yeah. It's kind of like, okay, that's a bitch move. But then Hercules married her. So in the end, it worked out pretty okay.
Yeah.
She was just fair skinned and youthful and lovely. So some gods would convince her that they deserved to have their youth back for like moral reasons, not just for their own gains, because
Oh
she
my god.
wasn't just about to give it out to everyone that wanted to like take it back 20 years. So
Yeah.
people would try and be like, I deserve it.
Yeah.
Okay. You have to go to your plastic surgeon and like plead your case.
Wild.
The dot. What's that?
I said wild.
Yeah. She was the daughter of Zeus and Hera, and also, fun fact I learned was Hebe is also a genus of plant in New Zealand, and with 90 approximate species, it is the largest plant genus in New Zealand.
Oh,
It
it's cool.
came up when I was Googling the name. So I was like, why? Why is that a plant? Okay. Oh, this one also tough to Google because it is Eos. EOS. So
The chapstick.
there is a chapstick or rather a
Yeah.
lip balm brand, the ones that come in those round little
The ones I use?
balls of
Yeah.
pods. Yes, you have so many. I have a few. I've definitely used a lot of them. They're not bad.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize it was actually the name of someone or something.
Yeah.
She is the personification of dawn and an unbelievable beauty.
Oh.
Oh yeah. Actually, this one, yeah, the whatever article I was reading had a beautiful picture they linked from like Pinterest where it was like all pinks and like
Yeah.
so she's like rosy and golden and she has gorgeous white wings and all that kind of stuff.
Be nice. It's like the best time of day. It's like dawn.
Yeah. Oh, sunrise, sunset. Obviously, those are so beautiful to photograph.
Yeah.
She apparently materialized as a daughter of god and goddess of light and heavenly light, Hyperion, and sister Thea. I don't know. We won't get mixed up in the family tree too much if we can help it.
Yeah.
But her lovers include the hunters Orion and Cephalus, and hubby Astraeus, I think. Obviously, Orion is a pretty familiar one. I've heard
Yeah.
of him because of Orion's belt. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um. Oh, but with her husband Astraeus, she had a son, Phosphorus, who is also known as the Morning Star or Lucifer.
Lucifer. Dun dun
Oops.
dun.
I mean, I don't know. That stuff is still pretty interesting to me. I don't know why. The Morning Star is all the different non-strict Christian connotations like that fascinate me. It's like I don't know. It's like reading the Da Vinci Code and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Or I did recently read one that I borrowed from the little mini library they had at work where um it was by that author that does like the Bones series. They did the Bones TV show. I think I was telling you I read a couple like a book, you know, the one with
I
the
know the
Deschanel
show.
sister.
I didn't know it was
Well,
anything about a book.
oh yeah. Oh, apparently it's based on this book series, and apparently the book series is kind of based on her life, where she was like an actual bone anthropologist, whatever. Oh, pretty interesting, actually. Then maybe I'll could lend you the book that I read or whatever. But sorry, I was like, wait, what was I? I hate that when I'm like train derailed. The bones. Oh, oh, it was weird because that last one was kind of about just a weird archaeological find that they thought it could have been to do with the family, the possible family of Jesus and like his maybe descendants, and there was like this whole plot about if he could have lived after instead of being crucified and dying on the cross, and like
Hmm.
his brothers or his family tomb they thought they found and there was bones in it and like his brother's sister, and I was like, man, that's crazy. Like, is that shit real that they think they found the real Jesus and that he had brothers and sisters, and like that kind of stuff fascinates me to investigate from like a scientific standpoint. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was an interesting book. Anyway, I guess that's why the only reason I thought of it. Sorry. Oh, and I'm glad you explained this stuff already because um the Titan gods came up in mine, and you had
Yeah.
already talked about at least Gaia and Uranus.
Yeah. A few of them.
Yeah, so yeah, with Eos, the lip balm god. No. Apparently her
I
Roman
shall pray to
equivalent are
the
named
god of lip balm.
right. Keep me from being chapped.
Yeah.
The Roman equivalent is Aurora. like Aurora
Oh.
Borealis, which makes sense if she's like dawn. That's so cool.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Yeah. Even though Aurora Borealis is usually more noticeable here at night, but yeah, it's like the sky lights up like dawn, only not dawn colors. It's like greens and blues usually. Oh, I
Yeah.
want to see it so bad. Um, and her siblings are Helios the sun and Selene the moon. And they might be, or they're usually considered second generation Titan gods. So I guess those were born to the Titan gods who were Kronos, Krios, Apatos, Hyperion, and Okeanos. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
That's
It's
how
too
I
hard.
felt. I was like, so many words. And when you look it
Yeah.
up to pronounce, a lot of times it just is like it's pronounced like it seems like it is, or you hear somebody pronounce it and you're like, oh, I'll remember that an hour from now, and you won't. You won't.
No. This one, they had it written like Oceanos, and I was like, oh, okay, that one makes a lot more sense.
Hmm.
But I wasn't sure if that was butchering the original pronunciation. Who knows?
Yeah.
It did say the six gods were the children of Uranus, who was another name for Uranus or sky. I'm like, I feel like I'm learning, but
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of aliases.
Yeah.
And Gaia, Earth, and they ruled the cosmos before the Olympians came to power. Boom.
Hmm.
Um, then Athena, who we touched on, and her mother, I don't know, Métis
I
in
said mate.
Canada.
I don't know.
I wasn't sure because to me sometimes I
Yeah.
see it and if it has that right accent on it, you're like it's the First Nations group, the
Yeah,
Métis,
matey. I
but it
didn't
could be
know.
Métis. Yeah, exactly. But anyway, that's her mom, and she got pregnant with Athena, but Daddy Zeus feared that there would be a son that was too powerful for him and usurp his throne and be too strong.
Yeah.
So he did what any insane deity would do, and he swallowed Metis whole.
What the Well, she's pregnant?
That's right,
Wow.
because
I mean,
he's
if his
Zeus.
kids, what, his kid Cronus is like swallowing all his kids and like fucking.
That's
So
why that part
he
to me,
called
I
it
was
his
like, this
pregnant
sounds
wife.
familiar.
Yeah, wow.
They do a lot of things. They just really needed to
It's
invent contraception.
and not
Also, I'm
swallow
really,
people whole.
yeah, no kidding. Reading a book that's like dystopian, but also it's not super crazy dystopian like aliens or nuclear war. They're like, we'll leave the nuclear war and the pandemic. And I'm like, instead, they just like, oh, everything as it is today, but how it will be in like 30 years. It's called 2045. So it's basically supposed to be now 20 years in the future. It was written like 10
Yeah.
years ago, and they're like, oh yeah, the population expanded when they outlawed abortions and contraceptives. And I was like, ew, that's too creepy, that's too real. I don't like how it's like
Yeah.
super realistically just saying how things could possibly happen. Like it's just kind of, if we're just to
Yeah.
keep on this trajectory, and you're like, no, I don't like this is too real, this is like a Handmaid's Tale or something. It's just like,
Yeah.
ugh.
That's weird.
But I know it's creepy in that way, and in that way I don't like it. Okay, but this badass bitch. I said, Athena, a fierce fetus if ever there was one, sprang fully formed from his head.
Oh. I think I've heard that somewhere before.
She's like, you don't want to birth me, but you're gonna swallow my mom. I'm gonna come out
Yeah.
anyway.
I'm gonna come with your forehead kicking.
Have fun with childbirth.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
she's apparently famed for planning war strategies and So that's why the very famous capital city is named after her in
Cool.
Greece.
Nice.
Athens, yeah. She's seen as like a city protector and a goddess of war, handicraft, and practical reason, which is just so cute.
I like her.
She's the goddess of logical thought. No, but
Yeah.
really. Yeah,
That's
she's
all I
definitely seen
need.
as like urban, right? I like it too. I need a goddess of organization. No.
Yeah.
um, but because she's so urban and civilized, she's essentially seen as the opposite or the antithesis of Artemis, who was kind of the goddess of more nature, if you
Hmm.
recall.
Okay.
So I was like, okay. Not that they don't get along, but apparently they're just kind of opposite. And because Athena, yeah, has no consort or children, she became known as virginal or pure. Which,
Okay.
again, just the stories, and also funny because I was gonna say, Rain went to school with a kid whose mother's name was Athena. I'm like, oh yeah, wasn't that her friend Star's mom's name, Athena? They all had really cute names.
Aw.
Star,
Nice.
Athena, yeah. But anyway, I don't think that Athena was necessarily virginal or pure, but that's kind of how the stories apparently went over time. I don't know.
Okay.
Just because she wasn't fucking around like all the other Greek goddesses.
Yeah, just because she wasn't at like Zeus's level, like.
Oh my god, Zeus.
Oh, Zeus.
Zeus. um, yeah, so other than those eight lovely ladies, and there was scary people that I could have covered, but there was also a fun little list of eight that was just a quick list of the eight weirdest sex things that went down in Greek mythology.
Is it
It
gonna
went with
top
my
cutting off somebody's genitals, throwing them into the sea?
well, sometimes yeah, sometimes the origin stories end up being the like weird sex stories too.
Yeah.
And there was a list of the eight weirdest Greek myths, and I was like, okay, the few of them that don't repeat from the weirdest sex myths, I will read on Patreon.
Okay.
There's so many weird ones. So strap in and strap on. No. And Zeus isn't that great at consent, we have learned.
Yeah.
Um, Number one, ironically, I had heard of this in The Magician, speaking of that show slash book series. This is the story of Leda and the Swan.
I do not
Do you,
remember it. I skim read those books. There was too many
and the
time
shows. Oh,
jumps. It
they
was
didn't.
like making me angry.
There was. Yeah, because, they say it's like, what did we call it earlier? The university kind of Harry Potter. But it's like, yeah, he like goes through the first four. Like, he's basically graduated by the time the book one is done. I get what
And
you
there's
mean. It like
yeah,
goes
there's like three
fast in that
books and
way.
yeah, it's like
Yeah,
2/3 of the way through the
yeah.
first book and he's already done all 4 years of school. Sometimes one whole year was like 2 chapters and you're like, oh. Like,
True. But he also, went to the magical land, so that was a lot of shit going
yeah.
on too. So, but yeah, it's interesting. I know what you mean. Sorry.
Yeah.
um okay, so Leda was the wife. Oh, by the way, this is from the eight weirdest things that went down in Greek mythology, and just copied and pasted from the article by Lara Rutherford Morrison. So thank you very much, Lara.
Yeah.
I was too lazy to write these ones.
That's what
But
I did. I
Lita,
literally copied and pasted the whole Greek mythology webpage. It's like, yes, done.
I mean, oftentimes it's very concise, right?
Mhm.
Okay, Leda was the wife of King Tyndareus. Didn't practice that one beforehand. One day, Zeus turned himself into a swan and came to Leda for protection against an eagle. He then seduced her. In some poems and artworks, it's depicted as rape. So, trigger warning for the consent issue.
Mhm.
Sorry. She became pregnant and laid 2 eggs, because why not? It says. There are conflicting stories about what exactly happened here. Some suggest that she also had sex with her husband that night and that some of the resulting progeny was his. But regardless, the general consensus seems to be that the children were Castor, Pollux, Clytemnestra, and Helen. Yes, that Helen, the one with the face that launched 1,000 ships. Couldn't they name them all like Helen, Mark, whatever? Just saying. Castor, Clytemnestra.
Yeah.
I don't know. Number 2, Danae's father was told by an oracle that her offspring would someday kill him. As Danae hadn't had any children yet, her father did the obvious thing and locked her in a bronze prison. Sounds like a
Oh,
Grimm's fairy tale.
yeah.
Sorry about it. Not to be deterred by mere bars, Zeus turned himself into golden rain, made his way into her chamber, and impregnated her.
Holy fuck.
She would give birth to Perseus, the guy who would eventually kill Medusa. That's where I heard him
Mm.
before.
Okay. Wow. He turned himself
He's
into rain to get at her. Not to set her
he is
free. Who the fuck does he care that she's a prisoner? He's just like, I'm gonna impregnate her. Fucking do it. I won't rescue her,
yeah,
but
he's not. Oh my god.
oh.
Oh, I just want to make a bunch of inappropriate jokes about him being like, one of those Me Too celebrities that is like,
Yeah.
by the way, he did all of this and all of these people without their consent. Yeah, it's not great. Oh yeah, and also he would fulfill his uh oh yeah, Perseus, the guy who would eventually kill Medusa. So Perseus would also fulfill his grandfather's prophecy, killing him accidentally at a sporting event.
Yeah.
Oops. So I guess he did do what the prophecy said, but
Yeah.
it was an accident. Zeus didn't limit his metamorphosing seduction techniques to the ladies. He was attracted to a young man named Ganymede, so naturally Zeus turned himself into an eagle and abducted Ganymede to Olympus. There, Ganymede became cupbearer to the gods and Zeus's lover, much to the angst of Hera, Zeus's wife. Fucking fruit fly. Sorry.
Just abducted him. That's terrible.
I like this guy. Also a fun fact, Ganymede. I remember skim reading this too, but didn't process also how that is a what was it, a ship or a station? It's a name they used in The Expanse, which is a
Oh.
book series turned TV show on Prime. Yeah, it's like, ooh, let's go to Ganymede. So I was like, oh wait, I know this name. I mean, Greek Greek names, man. We apparently can't get enough of them still to this day.
Yeah, we borrowed a whole lot of them for everywhere.
Oh yeah. I heard something called English, American English, the like library of other languages or something the other day. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I think I've heard that before too.
Okay. Then we have have a couple more. There was Ixion. Ixion does not sound like a nice guy. When he got married, he refused to pay his father-in-law the bride price for his wife. Obviously, the idea of a bride price is messed up, but that's a topic for another post. Instead, he flung his father-in-law into a pit of burning coals for which he was shunned by the rest of humanity.
Holy
Yeah.
shit. Wow. Fuck.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Zeus felt sorry for him and brought him to Olympus, where Ixion immediately developed the hots for Hera, Zeus's wife. Awkward.
Did he fuck her?
They tested it. It said, in order to test whether Ixion would actually go so far as to have sex with the ruler of the gods' wife, he made a cloud that looked like Hera and sent it Ixion's way.
A cloud.
The cloud. This is one of those
Okay.
ones that came up in the 2 lists because it was so fucking weird.
This is like some
Ix-
like cartoon roadrunner stuff. I'm a person and this cloud is a person.
and it's like this perfect depiction of that person. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ixion proceeded to have sex with the cloud and impregnated it with
What?
Centaurus. Centaurus then had sex with a bunch of horses, and their offsprings were the centaurs. Half horse, half human.
Oh my. So Centaurus came from clouds. No.
Yep, and it says, I bet when you used to obsessively watch that part of Fantasia with the centaurs, you never imagined that they came from a murderer having sex with a cloud, did you? Well,
Wow.
thanks.
So
Oh god, this is a name. Number 5, after Centaurus claimed that her daughter Myrrha was more beautiful than Aphrodite, Aphrodite, who was the jealous sort, cursed Myrrha to lust after her own father, Cinyras. I'm so sorry, I don't know this name. Myrrha was horrified by her desire to have sex with her father, but went for it anyway, waiting until her mother was away to seduce him in the dark, pretending to be her mother.
Oh god, that's
When
so
he
creepy.
discovered. Yeah. I'm just like, moving on. No. Right? It's no. That's a bad curse.
Yeah, at least it's a curse and not something she wanted to do. She was cursed into wanting to
I know,
do
I
it.
was like, is this where we got that Shakespeare story or Odysseus or whoever it is? Or wasn't there one that wanted to be with his own mother or something? I can't remember now. It's
I don't
not
know.
exactly this one, no. Pretending to be her mother. When he discovered the truth, he chased her away and she ran and prayed to the gods for help. They took mercy on her and turned her into a myrrh tree. Later, she gave birth as a tree. No, I don't know how, to Adonis. It did. But I
But
found
there's
one source.
Adonis.
Yes! I was like, I know I have a little bit on him, but also his, like, story had a lot of info and it was conflicting and confusing to different articles. One source said her father shot an arrow into the tree and out Adonis came because she was made into a
Hmm.
tree first. Another source said that when she was a tree, her tears fell and were myrrh, and a boar pierced the trunk with his tusk and it cracked open to let Adonis fall out. I don't
Either
know.
way, he fell out of a tree.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, let's just have a couple more. In this myth, a beautiful woman named Europa. Oh my god. Literally, they also use that name in that space show. Anyway.
Yeah, I've heard
And her
Europa before.
Right? It might be a
Yeah.
Jupiter moon or something, now that I'm thinking about it.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Because, yeah, I think that's where they get a lot of the names in the expanse. And her friends went out into the fields to gather flowers. Zeus saw Europa and decided that he must have her. He transformed himself into a beautiful, gentle bull, so gentle that Europa pet him and eventually climbed onto his back, at which point Zeus, still in bull form, raced to the sea and began to swim toward Crete. Europa would become the queen of Crete and bear Zeus a number of sons.
All
Hopefully,
right
because she
then.
wanted to. Hopefully, she's still attracted to him now that he's an old bull with a big belly. I don't know. The real lesson to learn from most of these myths is that being the object of Zeus's lust sucks. Oh my god, I did not write that sentence. It was hard to say. Io was yet another woman who caught Zeus's eye and paid for it. Also, I think another moon name. But in order to hide the fact that he was pursuing Io from Hera, his wife, Zeus cast a cloud over the earth which only raised Hera's suspicions. She went to find Zeus, and in a last ditch effort to hide his activities from his wife, Zeus transformed into a white heifer. He loves this cow aesthetic.
Yeah. Like, why? Oh.
I will be a sexy cow. That will surely get them.
Moo.
Moo.
Moo. But a sexy moo. But a moo.
I think you might have it confused with horses, guy. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Not fooled, Hera called Zeus's bluff by pretending to like the cow so much she wanted it for herself. Unwilling to be caught in a lie, Zeus gives Io to Hera, who proceeds to torture the woman in cow form, first by having her kept under with watch of the hundred-eyed Argus. Ooh, hundred-eyed. Hundred-eyed,
Oh.
hundred-hand.
Yeah.
Forgot about that. And then, after Io escaped, having her constantly followed and stung by a gadfly. That just seems
Oh.
petty.
Yeah. Terrible.
Those poor horses and cows are like literally always being stung by things they can't get at. I feel so bad.
Yeah. Oh, I can't imagine that. That'd be brutal. Just
I
swat it with
know.
your tail.
All day long. Um, and the last one on their list had a lot to do with some of the ones you already mentioned. But it said, in case it's not already obvious, the Greek gods and goddesses had no problem jumping into bed with their family members.
Yeah.
Your Uranus, the sky, it said was both the son and husband of Gaia, and they birthed the 12 Titans, two of
Yeah.
which, Kronos and Rhea. Oh, yeah, you talked about them too.
Yeah, they're
Married.
siblings too. Yeah.
I forgot that it was Rhea. Like, I've literally seen that as like, that's still a name used today. Oh yeah, they were parents to those other ones: Demeter, Hades, Hestia, Hera, Zeus, and Poseidon. And Zeus and Hera married and had many children. And Zeus also fathered a daughter, Persephone, by his sister. And maybe when you're a god, you don't have to worry about your kids sharing a tiny gene pool and being born with 3 heads. That was how we ended the article.
Oh my god. I mean,
So true.
yeah. Maybe
They all
gods
ended
don't
up
have to worry about
beautiful.
birth defects
No, even
and
the
deformities.
Targaryens, we were talking about it, me and Pat, and we were like, well, they even like looked okay. It's just that it seemed like the occasional one of them probably had a mental illness, which
Yeah.
isn't unavoidable, but also maybe would be better if you weren't all the product of incest.
Yeah.
Stop sleeping with your cousins.
Yeah. Jeez.
Thank you for sticking with me. That was a fun one.
Yes, I had a lot of fun this episode. Well, I think we'll definitely revisit it because at some point we have to talk about what the 12 trials of like Hercules, all the tasks and stuff he has
Ooh.
to do. That's a really cool story. It's just very long.
Hercules,
Um,
Hercules. Yeah.
yeah. And then there's stuff I ran across about um the all the constellations and everything that are named after
Mm,
Greek gods and stuff. There's stories
yeah.
behind all that. There's so much we can do.
Oh,
It should be
yeah.
fun.
I had to restrain myself too because, like I said, I was
Yeah.
like, I wanted to do the top 8 sexiest, the top 8 scariest. Yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, you can't talk about all that. It won't fit.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, next week we are back for the true crime episode. It's gonna be a
Yeah.
dark one, I think.
Probably. Yeah. Some ritualistic murders. Then-
Yeah, which when you come down to it and you Google it, it's a lot of those kind of cult murders. So,
Yeah, culty
yeah.
ones that were part of like the satanic panic kind of ones that
Yeah. They were taken as cult murders, maybe sometimes, even if they
yeah.
weren't. Yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, it'll be a dark one. Or you
Oh,
can
for
check out our
sure.
Patreon before then for we're doing some witches again because it's what episode
Yeah.
like 5 was the last time we talked about witches with the witch trials.
True,
So
true.
yeah, we're
I
going
know.
back.
That's not so fun because in witch trials they're all dying. So we want to
Yeah.
revisit the modern witch on the Patreon. And oh, I'm excited. Yeah, I'm glad we get to record that one first because it's going to be a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Like just to do the research for them. Like I get it. I listen to true crime episodes even though they're not fun, quote unquote, but
Yeah.
it, it is a little different when you're doing the research. We'll tell you that much.
Yeah. It's like you're reading so much and then it just keeps going and going and going and yeah, even
Yeah.
just checking
It
all
gives
the
you a
different
new
sources.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say it just gives you a new appreciation for what the families go through a little bit too. Just
Yeah.
how it never ends. Yeah. But on that note, I heard that although I haven't listened to the whole Serial podcast, the one called Serial, the I guess the first season they did the Adnan Syed case. Like he
Oh
just got
yeah, that
released from prison, so like I've heard of this case because it's in the true crime world, but I literally haven't listened to it. So
I haven't either, but
I don't know. Yeah, I feel like it
yeah,
sounds like someone probably innocent got out, and hopefully that maybe that podcast helped with it. I don't know,
I think it was
but
I think Crimes and Consequences posted a thing about it and it was like a very circumstantial case or something and he was definitely seems to be
okay,
wrongly convicted. Which is
that
good
would make
because
sense. It was featured on so many like podcasts and stuff that I'd heard. Yeah,
yeah. So
that's
yeah, that
good
helps. I
then.
mean, when you keep talking about cases and stuff, it especially when you're a bigger podcast, it reminds people out there that people care and that kind of stuff can help the family too because it can kind of put
Yeah,
pressure on the police and stuff to keep investigating it if the family hasn't got closure
yeah.
or anything yet. They it helps that out too.
I agree. Yeah, I remember with the when I was doing the Picton one, and it said that they changed their missing persons cold case squad to be like, we don't close it until we find them. I was like,
Mhm.
it sounds so simple, but it also sounds like just such a given. Like,
Yeah.
if it's not closed, even if it's a cold case, quote unquote, it should still be open. It should still be looked at and like in the minds of everyone, and whoever can help that, that's usually pretty great. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it helps.
Anyway, yeah, yeah. So I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good
Mhm.
true crime news we can report instead of talking about freaking stabbings in Canada again.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, I was trying to end it on a good note. I'm sorry. Yes, we'll see you next week for, ritual crimes.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
All
Bye
right.
bye.
Till next time. Bye bye.
This has been Castles and Cryptids. You can listen to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Anchor, Breaker, Pocket Cast, and our YouTube channel. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Reddit. On our website, you can listen to all of our episodes as well as view pictures for each of our segments. Check out our Patreon page to view all of our tiers and become a Patreon supporter today to unlock monthly bonus episodes and behind-the-scenes content. We are working on an Ask Us Anything. You can submit questions by social media or by email at castlesandcryptids@gmail.com. Do you have a spooky ghost story, a creepy cryptid sighting, or a thrilling true crime tale you would like to share and have us include in a future episode? Send us your listener story by social media or by email. Please include the name that you would like mentioned. Our music is by Kobe Fair. Our logo and artwork is by Antonio Garcia. Thanks for listening.